All right, it's your favorite author, and welcome to the Writer's Block 2026. So this is our first podcast episode of the year. We're going to work on being more consistent for this year. So, last year we said we were going to be more consistent, and we did not do that whatsoever. But this year, it's another opportunity, and we're going to take advantage of that because we're here, we're still alive, and we're going to make it do what it do. So, it's been 10 years. I have been writing books for 10 years. It's been 10 years of ups, 10 years of downs, a lot of learning, a lot of, successes and failures. And with 10 years being in the books, and being able to kind of show respect to the time that I put in, the years that I put in, and the work that I've put in, I wanted this first podcast of 2026 to kind of commemorate that. So today's podcast is going to be for the 10 years of me being an author, 10 things I learned about being an author. And so I'm hoping that what I can give here is going to be something that ultimately will help somebody else who is either just starting out on their writing journey, or maybe you've been writing for years and you feel stuck somewhere, and something that I say can help or inspire or kind of point you in the right direction as to where you need to go next. Or maybe just hearing somebody else's story lets you know that I'm not the only one going through this. So here's where we're starting. 10 things I learned about being an author. So let's start with thing number one. And the first thing that I learned as an author, or the first thing that I want to talk about, what I've learned over these past 10 years, not the first thing I've learned as an author, but over these past 10 years, one of the first things that I've learned is how important it is to learn your voice. Meaning learning what you have to say and how you have to say it, and learning how you deliver things. And this is important for fiction as well as nonfiction. Having a voice and having a way that you can tell your story so that other people can not just receive it, but understand you and understand you as a writer. You do not want to write stories and people say, well, this feels like I'm listening to J.K. Rowling, or this feels like I'm listening to Stephen King. Now, it is great to be compared to those people. And if people can get semblance of that from your writing, then that's perfect. But you still want to be able to have your own identity. You still want to be able to have your own voice as a writer. And so learning what your voice is very important. Learning how you tell stories, putting yourself in your stories so that when people do read what you write, they're able to kind of get a grasp of who you are and what you're about. And so learn that, take some time to kind of understand it, write stuff out, read it to yourself, read it to other people, and kind of gauge what they take from it. What do you take from it when you hear your own writing? What do you sound like to you? So understanding and learning your own voice. That's the first thing that I learned about being a writer, is that how important it is to have your own voice. Number two, and these things, as I list them, again, they're not in order of importance. They're just 10 things that I've learned from my process about being a writer, and what it means to be an author, what it means to be a writer. So thing number two, great writers also read. And that's important for a few reasons. One, understanding literature itself and understanding how stories are told. You can have an idea. Everybody has ideas. But having an idea and being able to articulate an idea in a way to where people can receive it, people can understand it, things like that, it's something that it's a learned skill. And in order for you to learn it, you have to take examples and you have to experience it from other stories. And one of my favorite things to read is manga. I love reading manga. I think Japanese writing is very unique and compared to what we're used to in the Western world. But I also read a lot of mangas. And, I know some people are like, I don't have time to sit down and read books. Okay, well, there are audiobooks. You need to be able to consume stories, though, in a way, not just TV, And yes, there is some compelling TV out there, but you need to be able to consume stories in the format that you wish to create. So you can't say that I want to be a comic book writer if you don't read comics. You can't say that I want to be a manga writer if you don't read manga. You can't be a television writer if you don't watch television. So you need to consume and understand the field that you're going to be in. And that's just like with anything else. I mean, if you want to be a good chef, you can't just walk off the street, and start cooking. So you need to be around other chefs. You need to be around other, if you're a writer, you need to be around other writers, other readers, learn how to break down what you're reading in a way to where you can be both a fan as well as a writer yourself. So that's thing number 2. All right, thing number 3. Now, readers love characters. Me as a writer, I love creating characters. In fact, I will sometimes get so fixated on creating this character and building out their lives and all the things that surround them in their world and stuff like that. Like, the character is almost the most fun part about making a story or writing a story, because it's the thing that kind of pulls you in. Like, characters are what draw us in. Like, people don't watch TV shows just because of the cinematography. Yes, the cinematography may be great, but you need great characters in order to make that story, stick for people. However, just because characters are important does not mean that you can neglect the story. So that's what the next thing is. Characters are important, but never neglect your story. That means making sure that you create the right elements to tell the story, like creating the right plot, the right setting, building your world out the right way. You can spend all day creating characters. As a comic book writer, that's probably something that I get lost in a lot of times. Hero City Rejects, before I wrote the first issue, I probably made about 100 different characters. I built out this entire world, and all of these characters, and each of them have personalities and relationships and their flaws and their character issues and the things about them that made them great and the things about them that made them terrible, and all of these things. And I built this whole thing out before I even wrote the first page of that issue. But it doesn't matter how good your characters or how cool they are or how interesting they can be if you don't give them a story to help carry them. And these two things go hand in hand. Like, character will pull you in, but you need your story to help drive the rest of it. It needs a vehicle. Your character needs a vehicle to get it from one point to another. And if you don't flesh that out, if you don't take the time to develop those other parts of the story, then your story is just going to be, well, the characters are cool, but they won't care about anything else. They won't keep coming back for your reading. So making sure that you take the time to build an entire story, not just the characters, but your setting, your world building, your plot, your antagonist, your protagonist, making sure that you're building their motivations the right way. These are things that are important for your story, to make sure that it's a full story and not just, you kind of having a fan fiction thing, All right. Part 4. And this is something that I had to learn the hard way. And I got a little story about this, but part 4 is invest in an editor. Invest in editing. So, my very first book, and so my history, I've written a mixture of nonfiction and fiction. I've written thrillers, I've written sci-fi, I've written paranormal, I've written young adult, I've written adult, I've written comics, I've written manga. I write a little bit of everything. And in my first stint as a writer, my very first book was a nonfiction book. And I wrote the entire book. Thought I had everything done, but I was like, I need to edit. I was like, I need to make sure I do some editing. So all I did was I had typed up my entire manuscript in Microsoft Word, and I went to spell check. And that was it. I was like, I just need to make sure everything's spelled correctly. Because, obviously I wouldn't have made grammatical issues or other things of that nature. So, 1, spell check is not perfect. There are things that spell check will miss, even about spelling, if you have a different intention than what they recognize. So if you're not understanding what I'm meaning, if you use the word, and this trips people up a lot, there, and there. So if you use the possessive form of there, which is THEIR, and you meant to use there as in like that over there, they're not going to correct that because you spelled it correctly. You just used the wrong word, used it improperly. And so those are the types of things that an editor can catch. Beyond that, there are different types of editors, and you may need different types of editors depending on what type of story you need. There are editors who do things like check the tone of your story to make sure that things flow the right way. They check your syntax, your grammar. They can check things like, just making sure that your story is cohesive. And so making sure that you have an editor and that you invest in an editor is very important because the quality of your book can depend on it. And so my very first book, as I said, it's a funny story. It's not really that funny. It's more so it's the sad thing that I wasted a lot of money. I was so excited that I had my first book. And I was like, okay, save this money up and I'm going to buy a whole bunch of books so I can sell them. And I didn't invest in an editor. Like I said, I just went into Microsoft and did check spelling and grammar, or check spelling really, spell check. And then after that, I was like, all right, let me go upload my book and then I'm going to print off 400 copies. And I did that. And it took me probably selling, and I sold a good amount of my first book. That was probably one of my early high sellers as far as books that I've sold. And it took me less than a day for me to start hearing back from people who had purchased my book. Hey, I'm loving the book, but it's you got a lot of like errors in your book. I mean, there were things like formatting issues, things like paragraphs were not lined up properly on the page. There were things where page numbers were missing on my page, and simple things like that you think don't matter can actually turn people off of your book. There are people who they will not read a book if it has too many errors in the book. And so investing in an editor, it can be expensive, but there are inexpensive ways to handle it. And I'll tell you some of the ones I've used. First, going on a service or gig service site like Fiverr or Upwork. I found some excellent editors, people who have a passion for the English language and for writing, who would love to have an opportunity to read your book. That has been a saving grace for me, and I found some excellent editors through that service. You can also go a traditional way. You can go through one of these mainstream services like BookBaby or something like that and pay them. They have their own editing teams, or you can go through, you can just Google different types of editors, proof editors, copy editors, and things like that, and find someone who will edit your book. Now, the price can vary. There's some people who they'll charge a flat fee. I wasn't rolling the money when I first started, writing books, and so I needed somebody who could do it for, not nothing, but relatively affordable prices, within my budget. There are some editors who they'll charge you a certain amount of cent per word, and if you've got I have some books that are over 100,000 words and things like that, and so that price can kind of get up there. I'm saying all of this to say that it is important that you invest in editing, that you make sure that somebody other than yourself that is qualified and competent looks over your work and looks over your writing and gives you the proper perspective on what needs to be changed, what needs to be fixed, so that you're not putting out a book that isn't, the quality that you want it to be. So that's thing number 4. Thing number 5, treat your writing with the same respect that you would treat your job. this was something that I struggled with for a very long time. And even to this day, it's gotten even harder with me being a father and having a family. You know, I've got 4 kids, you know, I've got a wife, they've got needs, I've got to address those things as well. And so I had years where, and if you've been following me, you probably noticed this, where I wasn't putting anything out. I was hardly able to write like I wanted to, like I needed to. And it wasn't that I didn't have the desire, but when you got kids who got to be here and kids that got to be there, and somebody needs dinner and you got to run somebody here, and the wife needs this, and then you got to do this, and you forgot to get this looked at, and all these things keep coming at you, and then by the time you get a chance to sit down, the only thing you have the energy to do is crawl in bed and go to sleep. And that sucks, you know, especially as a writer. Like, you don't want to do that because you feel your creativity starting to slowly die. So what you have to do is you have to treat your writing with the same respect that you would treat any other job that you have. Now, it's not to say that you know, you got to dedicate 8 hours a day to your job. But what you do need to do is set a schedule for yourself. Set dedicated hours, dedicated time for your writing, and honor that time. You honor the time, you honor yourself, and you honor your writing. And so what that means is, you know, it can be as little as an hour a day. You set this hour from this time to this time, and regardless of what's going on, you know, you have to communicate with your family and friends and people who may need you, and you say, hey, I have a set time between boom and boom where I'm going to be working on writing. And, you know, during this time, you know, I am committed to this time. I'm committing this time for myself and for my writing. So I need you to respect and honor that as well. It may be hard, you may get some pushback, but if you want to be serious about your writing, if you want your writing to take you somewhere, and you want this to be something that you do for a living or do, you know, for your life, then you need to set dedicated times, and you need to be committed to those times. And respect your writing, respect your time. Also, pay yourself for your time. Reward yourself for the work that you do with your writing. That's not saying, like, you know, pay yourself necessarily a salary or something like that. But you need to make sure that when you do reach certain milestones or certain goals, that, you know, you reward yourself. You say, hey, you know, if I hit 10,000 words this month, I'm going to take myself to that restaurant that I always wanted to go to. Things like that. You need to be able to be proud of what you're doing, and like it comes back to respecting your work, respecting your time, and respecting your writing. So treat your writing with the same level of respect that you would treat a job. All right. Number 6, learn the writing process that works for you. So everybody has their own kind of process as to how they write. Like me, before I realized that I was autistic, and what I was thinking was my writing process was actually just me kind of bouncing around because I'm neurodivergent. I believed that my writing process was write until I can't think of anything else to write for this subject. And then instead of continuing to write on that subject or being stuck, I'll just create a brand new subject and start writing about that new thing. And so what I was doing then was actually just tapping into my dopamine-seeking tendencies of, something new. And then I would hyperfixate on that something new for whatever amount of time. But what you need to do is find a process, and this kind of goes into the same thing, even though it's a separate step or a separate thing I've learned. It is kind of tied to the previous one of respecting your writing. Find a process that works for you. So if you were somebody that you need to write in a quiet room with no distractions, no TV, and, you know, just the light, and that's how you write, do it. That's how you need to write. If you were somebody who you write better when you are out around people and you could be out in nature and things like that, do it. Take yourself to where you need to be so that you can be the most comfortable to be able to create the way you need to create. Your writing process is going to be integral to how creative, or how you tap into your own creative energy. So if the only way that you're able to write is in a situation where you're not really comfortable, you're kind of stressed out, and you're like, oh, I'm just writing because I have to write something, you're not going to put your best work out. Like, you need to create a vibe. You need to create a scenario. Like, you need to love this process and show love to the process by putting yourself in a situation where you can make your best work, where you can write your best stuff. So, for me, I have a few different things that work for me. I love writing on trains. I haven't been writing on a train as of recent, but I love writing on trains. And so, getting on a train and, just kind of enjoying the ride while I write, that's my thing. Like, writing on the move, like while I'm in motion. I don't know why that works for me. Another thing that works for me, I am a night owl. So writing very late at night has always worked for me. That has always been a thing for me. I'm an insomniac. I'm even recording this episode right now pretty late at night. So finding a process that works for you and that helps you tap into the creative energies that you need to be able to put your best work out. Those are the types of things that are going to help you find success when it comes to writing. All right. Now, some of the next few things that I'm going to talk about are more so geared towards people who are looking towards traditional publishing. I have done indie publishing. I have also reached out to agents about traditional publishing as well. So I'm somebody who's kind of on both sides of that. But some of the next things I'm going to talk about may kind of lean more so towards that. But they're important. They're very important. So with that, let's talk about querying. So if you don't know what querying is, it's the process where you reach out to an agent and you say, hey, this is my book. This is what my book's about. Please let me know if you're interested and if you would like to represent me. All right. Querying is, it's an art of its own. It is a very specific process, and it is not one that you should just take lightly. It's not one that you should just kind of breeze into. First, you need to make sure that your finished book is polished and it's ready to be sent to an agent. I would think the first thing that would turn anybody away from wanting to represent you is a project that you didn't put quality work into. So that means doing the things that I was saying before, like, getting an editor, making sure that you have done your due diligence to make sure your story flows the way it's supposed to, that your story flows the way it's supposed to. Some issues that I've had with things in the past, I've had printing issues where I had a book printer print a chapter twice. And so I had to go back and get reprints and things like that later on. But I actually sent that off to an agent once, and they were kind, thankfully, and let me know, like, hey, just so you know, your first chapter repeats twice for the first few pages of your book. And I was embarrassed, of course, and I was like, okay, can't do that again. Something else that you can do to help you with this process, there's actually a few things you can do, but one thing that I would suggest you do to help you with this process is to have someone help you write your query letter. So that's the letter specifically asking an agent to check out your work. There are people who they specialize in writing these types of letters, just like there are people who are great at writing business letters. If you wanted to get, if you wanted to write a proposal for funding for your business, there are people who that's their job. That's what they do, is they write these types of communications. In the same sense, there are people who can write a query letter for you, who can help you dress up your story. They'll read about it. They'll learn what your story is about, and they'll help you dress it up in a way to where they can present it to an agent. And so my first query letter that I ever wrote, I wrote it myself, was not getting any responses. I ended up finding someone to help me write a better query letter. All of a sudden, I start getting better responses. Please send me more about your book. Please send me more about your book. Oh, I'm very interested in your book. I'd like to hear more. And just that little bit completely changed the way that people were viewing my writing. So I was like, okay, I'll keep that in mind going forward. So I'm sharing that with you. Like, invest in somebody to write your query letter as well. Querying agents, again, like I said, there is an art to it. Agents are not taking submissions at all times. So there are certain websites, like there's query trackers where agents will put whether or not they are accepting agents. But just understanding the process and understanding, like, you can't just flood someone's emails with requests for them to represent you. Some agencies have policies regarding you submitting multiple times to different agents. So just because one agent at an agency says no, doesn't mean you can just go to every agent at that agency and hope to, land an agent. Like, if the one says no, it's a good chance that, overall they won't want to represent you. And that's not to say that there's anything against your writing. The other thing about querying is that rejections are a part of the process. Nobody's going to get a yes on the first agent that they query. And that's nothing against your writing, that's nothing against your story. That agent may not be the best person to represent you. That agent may specifically specialize in young adult historical fiction. And if you come to them with an adult sci-fi thriller, that just doesn't line up with the things that they're able to sell. And their whole business is being able to sell your book. And so if they aren't going to be able to sell it, then they don't want to represent you. And it's not anything against you. It's just that's how the business works. Don't take a no as a never, okay? Do not take the answer no as never. That just means not right now. Most of the biggest books that you've ever heard of received dozens, if not hundreds, of rejections before they were picked up by an agent. So it is an art. It is a long game. Querying is a very long game. But it is not a thing that, again, like I said, no does not mean never. It doesn't mean just because you receive a rejection that you should quit. But there are things that you can do, like I said, getting a proper query letter will definitely help open some doors for you, and making sure that your work is polished will also help open doors for you. Thing number 8. All right, we're getting towards the end now. This podcast episode, like I said, we're gonna try and keep this year's podcast around 20 to 30 minutes per episode. I'm not gonna try and keep you guys too long because I have things to say, but I also am doing it by myself, so I don't want to talk too much. But next thing up, learn how to hook both readers and agents early. One of the things that I've learned as a writer in the years that I've been doing it, and I don't know if this is a testament to the way that we as readers and as consumers of media, how we take things in now. But if you don't catch people quickly, meaning if you don't get their interest pretty early on, you could lose them. Now, this isn't everybody. Some people understand that things can be a slow burn and they don't mind the wait. But when you are querying agents, or if you're trying to sell somebody on something, then you have not that much time to get them interested. And so usually I would say your first chapter, it doesn't have to be, jumping off action, 250 people shooting each other up, or, drama, someone got murdered on the first page. But there needs to be some element to your writing that pulls your reader in immediately. And that can be done in a variety of ways. It could be done by an action or an event that happens in your story. It could be in the language that you use with your writing. It can be in the way that you voice, or your voice itself, the way that you tell the story. There's got to be something to get people interested so that they say, okay, let me see what this is. I'm leaving the door open and I'm willing to walk through it because of this thing. So you have to learn your own way to hook people. And that can differ from story to story. That can differ from, event to event, or whatever type of media that you are creating. If it's a comic book, it could be, on the first page, you need something to, get readers interested. It can be, like I said, it could be a fight. It could be, somebody died. It could be a character standing in front of a grave. Why are they standing in front of a grave? Now that you've created a question of why, I'm interested. Why is everyone crying? You've created a question. You've created interest. You've created something to keep me coming back as a reader. And that's what you want, is you want the person to keep asking the questions so that they'll take the journey through your story and that they'll want to be, invested in what you're creating. All right? Getting towards the end again. We are on number 9? Number 9? I got the list over here. I'm sorry. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, yeah. All right. Outline. Draft and draft again. So, part 9 is outline, draft, and draft again. You want to make sure that if you are writing a story, and this is coming from someone who, again, I'm neurodivergent, so it's very easy for me to just get in a tangent where I'm just going, right? But then when you just start creating, and it's very easy for me to kind of hit this flow state where I'm just writing, and ideas are just coming to me. I'm just putting them down as I'm getting them, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's a perfectly valid way to create something. But what you need to do is, once you start putting those ideas down, you also need to create an outline. You need to create a framework and a structure for your story, for whatever it is that you're writing, whether it's a comic book, whether it's a manga, whether it's non-fictional. You need to create some type of structure so that your story and what you're saying and what you're trying to convey to people, the message or the story that you're trying to tell, has some type of cohesiveness so that when they're reading through it, it makes sense. With a narrative story, this would be things like just having a basic outline of events, having your character mapping, So character mapping is something that, I didn't do it first, and I just focused on the main character because in my mind I had everything about them figured out. But character mapping is important because characters have relationships. And if you start to confuse those relationships and confuse those backstories and all that stuff, things start to not make sense. So if character A, at the beginning of your book was from New York and they had a New York accent, and then halfway through your book you forget that they have a New York accent and you say something about them talking with a southern drawl, now your book starts to get confusing. Wait a minute, where did this southern drawl come from? Why does he have a southern drawl all of a sudden? Is he faking his accent? What was going on at the start of the book, And so those are simple details, but those are things that can get confusing for a reader. And so if you're not taking care of the simple things, then you're also not taking care of the big things. So you can kind of mitigate some of that by making sure that you outline. Just starting with a story outline. What is your story doing? Beginning, middle, end. Okay. Then after beginning, middle, end, using something like the hero's journey to kind of map out what your character is going to go through. There are other different things. There are different books about plotting out and outlining your stories and stuff like that, and how to make all these things go. But you just got to take the time to actually write out your ideas and then flush out those ideas so that you have a full understanding of your own story, so that when you're writing it going forward, you're not trying to figure things out. You already kind of have an idea of where it's going to go. It's easier to write your story if you know your story. It's easy to tell other people about your story when you know your story. So it's like, you don't want to just have events. Like, you don't want your story to just be events. You want it to be character-driven, plot-driven, and things progress naturally like they're supposed to, not just, and then I had a car blow up, and then I had a bus crash, and then an airplane fell out the sky. And it's a bunch of things going on, 6, 7. It's a bunch of things going on that you have, no real connection to because you didn't take the time to properly outline and design your story the way it needed to be. So that is thing number 9. And now we are down to the last thing. And this is probably the thing that I still struggle with the most. And I've been doing this for, again, a decade now, 10 years. Thing number 10. they will not buy your book if you don't tell them about it. Now, this goes for social media. This goes for just selling it to somebody you see on the street. They will not buy your book if they don't know about it. And they can't know about it if you don't tell them about it. One thing that I have done that has kind of helped become a icebreaker for me, because I don't like selling myself. I don't like talking about myself. If you know me personally, then, you know, I joke around about things and stuff like that. But to people I don't know, I don't like talking. I hardly tell people that I write books. You have to know me, and you have to get close to me, and you have to be someone that I'm like, okay, well, let me tell them what I do. I don't just go around telling people I write books. And that's kind of a flaw, because how are they going to know to buy it if you don't tell them that you write? How are people going to know what your story's about if you don't tell them? As an independent author, I struggled with this for a long time, and I still struggle with it a little bit to this day. And it's more so because I haven't figured out the formula to the way that I want to tell people about what I write. Again, I don't like talking about myself like that, but social media is an easier way for me to do that. And so utilizing social media is a great thing. My icebreaker that I was talking about before. So I have merch. I have hoodies, and the hoodies are well designed and they look great, and they have some of my comic book and manga characters on them. And it's a great icebreaker because I wear the hoodies almost everywhere, you know, and I don't have to say anything to anyone. People come up and they ask me, what anime is that? What comic book is that? And then I have my instant segue of, it's actually my own original comic. Are you interested in hearing more about it? I can tell you about it. But you have to tell people about it. If you write a story and you want people to know about it, whether you choose to go the independent route or whether you choose to go the traditional route, if you don't tell people that you have a story, if you don't explain it to them, and I'm not saying that you have to sell them on it. I'm not saying that it has to be a pitch of, hey, so give me, $20 for this book that I wrote. It could be just you explaining the story and being excited about it. Being excited about the work that you've done is something you've created. If you don't tell people about it, they won't know that they need to invest in it. They won't know that they need to read it. They won't know that they need to share it. So that's going to be my final charge to you for all of my writers and all of my fans of the Writer's Block. I appreciate y'all for checking in for this episode of the podcast. But that's going to be my charge to you. Tell somebody about your book. Tell somebody about what you're working on. Tell somebody what you're writing. Share with someone that you typically wouldn't talk to about your book. And just start a conversation. It doesn't even have to be super deep. It's like, hey, are you a reader? Can I tell you something I'm working on right now? Keep it simple. Are you a fan of this? Think of books or comics or things that your stuff is comparable to. I've heard other people be like, are you a fan of Batman? If you're a fan of Batman, I'm actually working on my own comic. It's kind of similar to Batman in a way. This is a story. If you're a fan of the X-Men, I got this thing I'm working on called Hero City Rejects. It's actually very similar to X-Men. It's not that hard. We just make it harder than it's supposed to be. If you don't tell people about it, they won't know to buy it. So, it's your favorite author. And that's episode 1 of 2026 of The Writer's Block. Make sure that you follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Substack now. We have a Substack, guys. Yes, we have a Substack. It's brand new. I haven't put much on there. I'm still figuring Substack out, but we got to talk about it, right? If we don't talk about it, people won't know about it. So, Substack, Threads, TikTok, YouTube, and Spotify. This will be going up sometime later on tonight after I finish all the editing, but I want to thank you guys for continuing to rock with me, man, for 10 years. Like I said, I've been doing this for 10 years, and, some of y'all have been here from the beginning. Some of y'all have come in later on, but you're still with me, and that's what's important. So I appreciate y'all. The story keeps going, but we keep flowing. Y'all have a great one. It's The Writer's Block.